What's up, Gamecock fans? That's right, it's your buddy Rooster back. How we doing today? Hey, before I get in this video, don't forget to like, subscribe. If you like the content I provide in this video, I wanted to come in today and I had a few ideas for content to put out. And, I wanted to talk about Kentucky. And we will talk about Kentucky, but I want to talk about it in a little bit of a different way. So I think this video is Shane Beamer. Is this Shane Beamer's most important game up to date? It's not the biggest game, but if you look through his career as the head coach at South Carolina, do we look at this game as one of the most defining moments of his coaching career with the Gamecocks? You go out and win this game, the fans are going to feel a little bit better. You go into a week off, you have LSU upcoming. But with all the hype coming into the season, all the expectations, all the coach speak that we heard preseason, how the transfers are doing better, the younger guys have grown up, they've gotten better. It was just, the Heisman talk for Lenore Sellers, Dylan Stewart, one of the best defensive players, possibly having 2 number 1 draft picks in back-to-back years on this South Carolina team. And that's not the tone anymore. That's not the talk anymore. There is no more talk about playoffs. That ended. Really, there's not any talk about Lenore Sellers and a Heisman. That ended. Everybody's kind of down on the attitude of Dylan Stewart. This will have to be Shane Beamer's greatest coaching job, in my opinion, if he wants to continue to be the head coach at South Carolina. And this ain't me being angry. This ain't me trying to make a joke. This is me being serious. This is me being serious as a long-time college football fan, on top of a, whatever you want to call me, old-timer Gamecock fan. I'm not that old. I'm just barely in my 50s. Barely. But I'm being serious today. After reading comments, and I think people are kind of on the borderline with Shane right now. It could go one way. It could go the other way. You guys tell me, give me a grade on right now, the season, from 1 to 10. I think people would grade this as a letdown. Expectations, and a lot of talk was preseason South Carolina could possibly go into the LSU game 5-0. And you lose at home to Vanderbilt. You don't look good against what we now know is a very bad Virginia Tech team. You struggle with a South Carolina State team that goes out the following week and just gets blown out by, Benedict or somebody, which then makes you look even worse. And a lot of people may not have even looked at South Carolina State and how bad they got beat the following week. I think it was Benedict that beat them. But I'm being serious now. If you lose this game to Kentucky at home, that's 2 consecutive night games at home you will have lost. With what is expected to be a very good football team with a lot of talent. You have more talent on your football team than Vanderbilt. They're a better team. They played better. They won the football game, and you got to give them their props for that. South Carolina have more talent than Missouri. Probably, if you looked at blue chip ratios and stuff like that, you would say South Carolina probably has more talent. Definitely had a better quarterback. And a lot better quarterback coming into the season. South Carolina should have the better defensive player. I know we say you can't win football with 1 or 2 players. It takes a team. Well, this team ain't playing like a team. This offensive line is struggling. Tight ends can't block. Running backs can't block. Fans are frustrated. And here's the thing, is Beamer's let this go on for years now. with this offensive line thing. Sometimes stubbornness, man, just ain't the way to be. It ain't the way to go. You know, the older you get, the more you learn. Like, people are older than me and myself, very stubborn in the way we like to do things, and have always done things, and then now there's a whole new generation that's doing things totally different, and sometimes we're still stubborn in the ways we want to do things. But in the real world, we have to realize we have to move forward. We have to adapt to what's coming at us. We have to, a lot of us, you know, we didn't grow up with all the technology that they have now, and the jobs didn't require you to really do a lot of technology. But now we've had to adapt to it, right? We had to get used to doing it. We had to get used to computers. We had to get used to smartphones. We had to get used to all these apps and programs that a lot of companies require you to use. And I think people look at Shane Beamer and this offense and this offensive line as we've not adapted to what college football has turned into. And you would think Shane's a young guy, that you would think this team should look like it's adapted to the new age of college football. But when we sit back and watch, we don't think so. And maybe it's because of the turnover or penalties and turnovers, or we really haven't turned the ball over in crucial situations this year. But we have turned the ball over on downs and made bad decisions. And it's like, you know, I never was in the military, but I had a lot of family members that were, and they always told me the soldiers are only ever going to be as good as their captain or their leader. And the soldiers will follow a leader. Especially in the military, you follow your leader, and sometimes it may have led a lot of soldiers into bad places, maybe where they shouldn't have been. But you have to, in life, we have to adapt, right? So my vibe is, if South Carolina loses to Kentucky, does this fan base really turn on Shane Beamer? Or are we soured of Shane Beamer at this point? Because when you sit here in front of us and say things are going to change and it's going to get better, well, the track record doesn't show that. For 4 years, we've seen bad offensive line play, a lot of sacks given up. And yes, I get it. Some's on the quarterbacks, holding the ball too long, trying to make something happen. But they're going to do that when your running game ain't working. Has South Carolina had a really spectacular running game since Shane Beamer came along? We've had about two backs, I could say, between Mario Anderson that 1 year had about, I think he had a little over 800 yards, and then Rocket last year had a good season for South Carolina. But outside of that, have we had a good running game? Like, period, the end. South Carolina has a really good running game. Teams look at our film and say, oh, yeah, you got to watch them. They have a really good running game. I don't think so. I don't remember really saying that about our team a whole lot. You know, we've pieced together that. But you're going into now 4 seasons with 2 quarterbacks that's going to be considered the best quarterbacks to ever play at South Carolina because of where they got drafted and because of their playing in the NFL. And people are going to be, what was wrong with that football team? And over time, they're not going to think about how bad the offensive line was. And sometimes we forget, man, that offensive line was horrible. It's like right now, a lot of people don't talk about that with Spencer Rattler and how bad the O-line is at New Orleans. Except for South Carolina fans. You see it mentioned all the time. Man, Spencer Rattler can't catch a break when it comes to an offensive line. They can block for him. So that tells you how long this has been going, and Shane Beamer's refused to remove the coaches of that position. And I get, we all try to stay dedicated to our people, the people we hire, the people we feel close to. But if it ain't working, man, it ain't working. And it ain't working. And it's confused. And a lot of people that are connected to the program want to say more than they can say. But they can't lose access. So I'm going off the pulse I get from the fan base. And I get it. There's some positive guys. There's some people, hey, man, if we can pull this out, can we pull it all back together? We got 2 weeks. Can we make a decent season out of this, getting to 8-4? Would 8-4 satisfy Gamecock fans? I think it would. If you can go out and win a bowl game and get to 9 wins. We got to take our bowl game serious because, I mean, other than the first one Beamer won, he hasn't won one since. So that's got to be taken serious. Because last year that could have got Beamer to a 10th win. The Illinois game was a 10th win that was sitting there for South Carolina, which is so rare with this university. He had the opportunity there to really solidify his name in the South Carolina record books by getting that 10th win, and it didn't happen. And a lot of people say, well, bowl games don't count now. Kids like, look, 10 wins is 10 wins, double-digit wins. You want that. And we just didn't play good, and we really haven't played good since. I mean, we beat Clemson, but that was a struggle. I mean, where do we say was the last really, really good football game that we watched South Carolina play? As far as playing someone that was really, really good. Would that have been Texas A&M last year? They ended up not being that great. By the end of the season, their season total record wasn't very good. Considering at one time they were undefeated in the SEC when we played them. So, to me, this is a defining game for Shane Beamer. You can't lose this, Shane Beamer. A loss to Kentucky in a second night home game will cost you this fan base. And I'm talking to you, Shane. Man, I know you're not going to hear this video, but I think you know damn well in your heart and in your mind, if you lose this football game, you're going to lose the vast majority of this fan base. Now, you're going to have your people that still support you and pump you up. Oh, it's just we're going to chalk this up to a bad season. No, I'm tired of bad seasons, y'all. Seen enough of them in my lifetime. If you can't get the job done, we go to the next person. If they can't get the job done, we go to the next person. People say, well, you got to give them time to build. Transfer portal's ruined that. And you see a lot of, and you talk about quarterbacks and stuff, and you see all these quarterbacks that play in their first game for that, a new team or young quarterbacks and people changing. You look at Oklahoma, Brent Venables, old school guy, had to adapt, brought in Arbuckle, brought in Mateer, because he knew this was it at Oklahoma for him if he didn't have a successful season this year. Now his quarterback's hurt. Kind of legit say if Oklahoma struggles, but they got 2 weeks to get him back. According to everything I heard, Mateer's okay and ready to go. South Carolina can't do that, Beamer. You can't do that, Shane Beamer. Because everyone's going to turn right back around and look at you and say, okay, he's not been a coordinator before. It doesn't look like he's going to work out as a head coach. I don't know what Beamer's buyout is. I don't imagine it's too damn high. Where do you go from here? This team's got to find a spine. It really does. The old term is gut check, but I call it find a spine. You got to find your spine. You have got to win this football game. If you don't, you better automatically, without a doubt, some assistant coaches have to be fired on Sunday. Is the only way you're going to save this fan base and gather some support. You got to do it. And I'm talking to Shane Beamer man to man. I'm just telling you, I don't have anything against you personally, Shane Beamer. I don't know you personally. But you get paid a shit ton of money to bring a winning program to South Carolina. Not excuses. Not when the excuse is you retaining people that work for you that has continued to fail and still continues to fail. So some changes have to be made. You were right when you said changes are going to be made. But it may not be just changes in looking at the players that are on the field. You got to start looking at your staff, brother. You were a knucklehead with Satterfield until finally it got to the point to where you had to get rid of him. It can't continue. And you think you're going to be called the head coach at the University of South Carolina. I know people on the board of trustees. I know some people that influence the University of South Carolina. That it's not going to happen. We got a new AD. We've talked about that. Blanchard and other money that's coming into this university. They're not going to take a chance of losing that. And I get it. You're a great representative. You're a great rah-rah guy, great cheerleader for every other sport at the University of South Carolina. But we're not looking for $6-7 million cheerleaders. We need a winner. Schedule's only going to get tougher after this year. It's only going to get tougher, dude. You bought yourself some grace with a 9-3 season, but still had a bad offensive line. 44 sacks. 44. One of the worst in the nation. And it hasn't been any better this year. We're on pace to break that. So I'm talking to you, Shane Beamer. South Carolina fans, if you get mad and you're pissed off at Shane Beamer and you want him fired, if he loses this game, I ain't mad at you. I will not be mad at you. If you still want to support Shane Beamer and think he can turn it around, I ain't going to be mad at you. But right now, I am borderline on whether I think Shane Beamer should retain his job after this year, because I haven't seen him make the real important decisions when it comes to this staff, making changes, making hires. Now, I get it. Mike Fury is a good hire. I think wide receivers have come out. Running back coach, might need to go find another one of those too. They haven't looked impressive. Everyone wants to point the finger at Sean Elliott. Well, he's the run game coordinator. While Blackwell sits back there as the running back coach, and nobody's saying shit. Nobody is saying shit about Markwell Blackwell. He ain't getting it done. Lonnie Teasley ain't getting it done. Time to do some soul searching. Black night of the soul. Dark night of the soul. I think it's in the words of, say, if you're very spiritual, people go through things they call the dark night of the soul. And that's where you dig deep inside yourself and take a hard look at yourself. And you have to start healing things. I'm a very spiritual person, so I've been through dark. It's when you go through those phases. Maybe you go in for a month, 3 months, you don't want to talk to anybody, you just want to work on yourself, you want to improve yourself. But the first things you got to do is get rid of the negative things that are in your life. You have to do a cleansing. And this team's looking at doing a cleansing. Don't lose this football game. That's all I'm going to say to you, Shane Beamer. Do not lose this football game. But that's all I got to say. Guys, I wish I could have really been more in the mood to talk about the game, be a little more excited. But I do. I think this is the most important and most defining game of Shane Beamer's head coaching career. Lose this one, you lose the fans. Anyway, y'all please like, subscribe. I'm out of here, yo. Peace.